My name is Eddaket. This is going to be Chrono. And given that we are starting off day 3, I'm just going to jump right into the run without getting too delayed. So time will start after I select my name as Surge. So new game, and then 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so this is, as mentioned, this is Chrono. This is the Radical Dreamers Edition remaster. This actually came out just a couple weeks ago. Chrono was originally a PlayStation 1 RPG, and so this is the remaster. The remaster has had some mixed reviews, mostly down to technical issues with the game. Hopefully we won't see too many of them. Mostly it is... Most of the issues I've had have been related to like inputs in battle. So it's usually not frame rate issues or anything like that. So yeah, this is your sort of typical Squaresoft RPG from the late 90s. There are overworld encounters. So as you can see, I hit that bat, which is why I went into the battle with the bat. Every encounter, for the most part, is avoidable. So anytime I hit an encounter, it is by accident. Unless I say otherwise. And yeah, so we're just sort of moving through this section. The category we're doing today is the Lynx at Fort Dragonia category. This is sort of a 2-hour-ish category, a little bit over, depending on how good you are at the game. And this sort of gives you like a good taste of what the full run is like. The full run is about 6.5 hours, so it's a very long run. Not really suitable for a marathon like this, but it is definitely a really cool game, and I highly recommend it, both from a casual and speedrunning perspective. So just getting through this little area here. Worry because we're not going to have any way to like finish the story here today. So I don't want to leave anyone on too much of a cliffhanger, but this area here is actually a dream. So we're about to wake up when we go into the store here. We'll see some premonitions and then move on our way. This game has a really cool battle system and a really cool level progression system that we can talk about when we get there. Basically, one of the problems with RPGs like this are that, you have to worry about like leveling. Leveling can be tedious, all that kind of stuff. This game kind of does away with that. Leveling is done purely by defeating bosses. So whenever you defeat a boss, your entire playable character cast will gain a level. And that's where you get your stat increases. There are ways to get stat increases outside of that. That would only apply to your party, but for the most part, the actual leveling system will, account for everybody, including characters you don't have yet. So this game has a cast of 45 playable characters, which is an absurd amount of characters. And you can't get them all on one playthrough, and you won't get like some of them you'll get like super late in the game. So you don't have to worry about like, oh, this character I didn't get until the end game, so they're going to be underleveled or whatever. Everyone's level scales up. If you don't play with a character for a certain amount of time, they'll still level up. It's a really cool system. Yes, there are 45 playable characters. It is a lot. So now we have woken up. We are in our home village of Arnie Village. We slept in, so we're going to go talk to our girlfriend Lena on the beach. She's going to basically task us with getting some Komodo scales so she can make a necklace. And that's where we'll see our first battles of the game. Yeah, if you had to grind out all 45 characters to level them up, it would be ridiculous. For sure. So after this conversation, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of shopping as well. There aren't a ton of shops in the game, but we're going to shop to buy some elements, which is a great segue into the battle system. So there are physical attacks in the battle system, and there are elements. Elements are kind of like your magic. There are some physical attacks in elements, but that's kind of confusing. I won't get there. And everything will make more sense if I'm actually in a battle when I explain this. So let me just do this shopping real quick. So we're going to buy 2 fireball spells or elements, and then do a quick menu. Set up our options. Okay. So now we're default running, and then accuracy selection will be manual. Accuracy selection will make sense in a second. So in battle, you have physical attacks and elements. You can only use an element if you've built up a certain element level. And at the bottom of the battle screen, you will see my element level. Throughout this entire run, my element level will always start at 0. There are ways to start higher. We just won't see them in this run. And the way you build up your element level is you hit physical attacks. Physical attacks are broken into 3 different groups. You have strong, medium, and weak attacks. And that is the 1, 2, and 3 here. And as you can see, there's a percentage next to them. The percentage is the accuracy that you hit. So I did just miss 265 accurate moves. That is a common theme in this game. Just so you know. So you can see at the bottom where it says S level 0. That is my element level. Wow, we missed again. All right. You can also see this STA thing. So STA is stamina. You start with 7 stamina. Every action you do uses a certain amount of stamina. These physical attacks, 2 attack, which is the medium attack, will use 2 stamina. Using an element, which is what I'm doing here, will use a full 7 stamina. So you can go into the negative, but only if you're using elements. If you are using physical attacks, you cannot go into the negative. And that is a basic battle. So, wow, we actually just got very lucky with that. So the theme of the early game here is we need to get a few drops. Every enemy has 2 different drops it can have, a rare drop and a common drop. And during this early game, we need to get a few different resources that we can use to craft weapons and armor later on. I'm going to run away from this. So in the early game, we need a Fang, which is the common drop from the boss at the end of this area, as well as the drops from these lizard-looking things on the side, if we happen to fight one. We need a Humor, which comes from the Beach Bum, which is that big blue thing. And so we got one of those big blue things randomly in our Komodo, like, mandatory battle. So we don't have to worry about fighting an extra one. And then we also need a Feather, which is a rare drop from these Komodo pups. There is a backup chest if we don't get the Feather, but we happen to get a Feather on the first fight, which is awesome. So accuracy itself doesn't really reflect how much damage is dealt, though the 1, 2, and 3 attack does. So a 1 attack is basically, your base damage. A 2 attack, I believe, is 2.5 times damage, and a 3 attack is 4 times damage. And your 3 attacks are the only ones that can critical hit. So, especially later on in the main speedrun, we're not going to see it in this run. But in the main game, there are ways that you can force criticals, but you have to be using a 3 attack in order to get the critical. So it is not really something we rely on unless we have one of those like guaranteed crit methods. So here we're going to do another fight. I have Fireball on 2 different element levels. So one of my fireballs is stronger than the other. I'm purposely using the weaker fireball here to KO this Komodo dragon because the Mama Komodo comes out next. And Mama Komodo is the first boss of this area, so we will hopefully be able to get through it quickly. Not so quickly because we did miss one, but we will do this anyways. Another thing to note about the battle system is there are innate colors. There are 6 innates. There is black, white, red, blue, and green, yellow. And they are... Oh, wow, that's supposed to kill. Okay. They are paired up in that way. So white and black are opposites, so they do more damage to each other. Blue and red are opposites, so they do more damage. And then green and yellow. Komodo and a lot of the enemies here are blue innate, so we... blue innate, so we want to use our red fireball spell, or element, to make sure that we can defeat it quickly. And we did get the Fang drop, so we are good. So now we're on Opasa Beach, and we're going to get some more cutscene stuff. So this is where the story of the game kind of gets a little wonky, and things aren't going to quite make sense. One of the main complaints about this game is the story is incredibly convoluted, and this is one of my favorite games of all time, and I can 100% agree that the story in this game is quite convoluted. But I do think it is, if you can follow it, and if you can like read some of the things that people have put out online, it's a very interesting story. So yeah, this is where things kind of go haywire. How much does putting a certain element at a higher level do for damage output? It's a significant amount. It's not a ton, but it is enough. So there are different elements. So I guess I didn't really explain how the elements work. So in your element grid, you have multiple levels of elements. And so like I built up to level 3 in a lot of those. And as you level up, you gain more element slots. So I built up to element level 3. And I had a fireball on level 1 and a fireball on level 3. There are certain spells or certain elements are like expected to be on certain levels. So it's fireball level 1, and then you can go plus or minus 7. So it allows you to put it up to 7 levels higher, but you're on level 1. And then like the level 2 red spell is Magma Bomb. So Magma Bomb is plus or minus 6. You can go up by 6 levels or down by 6 levels. You can only really go down by 1 because, you know, level 1 is the only thing below it. But so you can make a weaker element stronger by putting it on a higher level, or you can just get a stronger element. And some elements have different effects. So like Fireball and Magma Bomb is a great example. Fireball is a single target attack, and Magma Bomb will hit all enemies. So you'll see me use Magma Bomb actually on the next fight in order to hit all the enemies in the battle. So it's kind of a weird thing. Yeah, and if nothing makes sense while you're playing the game, the entire lore dump at the end will. All right, so after we were just talking to Lena on the beach, we wake up, we get hit by some waves, we wake up, and Lena is gone. So we are very confused. Thank you, Kuker. Thanks for the raid. All right, so now we're going to make our way back to Arnie Village to talk with Lena, figure out what the heck just happened. And the first sign that something is amiss is actually right here in Lizard Rock. So we were just in Lizard Rock, and these enemies weren't here. Why are they here now? I'm going to have such a hard time trying to explain the story of this game, I swear. All right. And so Lena does not know who we are. I'm going to be mashing through this text, so it's going to be kind of hard to read. But basically what happened is, or what's going to happen here is Lena's going to talk and mention she doesn't recognize us, but she says we look like somebody who used to live next to her, but ended up dying 10 years ago. And she says that his name is Surge, which is the character's name. I renamed him to S, so everything's going to be referring to him as S. But she says his name is S, and then we were like, that's nonsense because we're S. But she's very adamant about it. So in this, something happened, and we are now in a world where we died 10 years ago. And she suggests that we go up to the grave site on Cape Howell. Basically, no one's been up there in a while. That's where we're going to head next. Very confusing. I don't know how we can be dead when we are right here. This is where we would fight one of the beach bums if we didn't get a humor earlier, but we did, so we are good. Something I didn't do during the first battles is there are two different camera options. There's a dynamic camera and like a more active, like static camera. The dynamic camera is really cool if you're playing casually because like you can see like things rotate around and you can see more stuff. The static camera is way better for speedrunning because like your inputs depend on the direction that the camera is looking. So if the camera is behind you and you hit left, it goes to the left. But if the camera is like, you know, behind your enemies and you hit left, you actually go to an enemy on the right. So it's kind of a weird thing. Yeah, so while we're up here, we get ambushed by these three soldiers, Karsh, Salt, and Pepper. Salt and Pepper are going to be sort of like the tutorial enemies that we're going to face throughout the game. And they get ambushed by this girl. Her name is going to be Kid. And she plays a pretty big part in the story, so she'll be around. Well, she'll be around, I'll say. I was going to say a lot, but I don't want to spoil anything. All right. So now Mama Komodo is kind of like the first boss, but this is kind of like the real first like test of things. And a lot of these battles are scripted in such a way that we can't actually be dealing damage, like reasonable, or we can't be dealing important damage until these text boxes play. So basically what they're trying to say is he's, you know, Surge is a white innate, so we need to be using black innate moves. And, oh, whoops. They don't have any black innate moves, so they're just going to deal with physical attacks, which is a good way to do it. The route for this category is basically the same as just the first 2 hours of the any percent category. It's just any percent is so much longer. Results. All right, cool. So something you'll see a lot in these multi-target fights or multi-enemy fights is we're going to basically focus down one enemy at a time and defeat one, defeat the next, defeat the next. It doesn't really make sense to spread your damage out across multiple enemies. Something that you'll notice there is Surge was in negative stamina and Kid was in positive stamina but didn't have a full stamina yet. And now I'm at like basically full stamina for everyone. That's called a stamina refresh. That happens anytime like none of your characters can do anything. You'll get what's called a stamina refresh. And the further negative you are, the more likely it is for you to get a full stamina refresh. It's kind of weird. It's like if you're just at -1, you're going to end up getting refreshed up to like minus, or you'll get refreshed up to like 3 or something. But if you're at -6, you almost always get up to like +7. It's pretty wild. So we finished up that fight. And now we kind of have to pay attention to this part. So Kid is going to basically offer to travel with us here. And we have to say no. We have to say no 3 separate times. And if we say yes even once, she comes with us. But we don't want her to come with us because there is a specific character that we want that we can only get if she doesn't come with us. This game has a lot of choices that will influence the characters you get or the events in the game, things like that. And so this is the first choice we have, and we really need to make sure we say no. So good thing is the game kind of gives us this really big delay in text boxes each time. Yeah. Fortunately, there's another spot in the game where we have to make a similar choice. And we have to do it 3 times, but that time the default option is what we want. It is not the secondary option like that. All right, so we've refused Kid's company. Now she's going to go off to Termina. Termina is a big town on the northern side of the island. And that's where we're basically heading next. And I did see I got a copper, but I don't remember what. So the route basically relies on you getting the common drops everywhere. And sometimes has some backup strats if you do end up getting a rare drop. Because usually the rare drops are better. But like if we're relying on one of the common drops from an enemy, then it can kind of mess up your route. So I did get 1 rare drop, and I don't know which one. There was basically an iron. I could get an ivory helmet or an ivory vest. And I didn't get one of them. I just don't know which one. But I'll be able to figure it out quickly. So Lena here joins our party. She says, I still think you're talking nonsense and that you're actually dead, or you're not who you say you are, but I'd like to help you out. So she's going to come along with us. If we take Kid, we can't get access to Lena. And Lena is going to be a pretty powerful magic user later on in sort of the final dungeon of this run. She's going to be very important. So. And now we are off to Termina. On the way to Termina is going to be Fossil Valley. I really like the way the world map works in this game. Once you've been through an area once, you can usually just fly right through it. In the world map, you don't have to actually like enter the area. So for example, I haven't been through Fossil Valley yet. But if I had, I would be able to just walk right through. Okay, so I'm going to... All right, I did not get the helmet. Not getting the helmet is the better option. So I'm okay with that. Poshal's a dog, by the way. There are some weird characters that you can play as. Poshal's definitely one of them. And they're only used on this fight, so that's okay. So another tutorial fight. Basically, after last battle, they learned that they need black elements in order to defeat us. So Salt has one of those black elements. He has a turn element, which turns Surge black. And if you turn black, then now you need white elements to be super effective, and they don't have any white elements, so that's what that was all about. All right. So what I just did there is a concept called stamina pushing. It's not going to be very obvious when I'm doing it, but basically every enemy in the game has a certain amount of action points, or you're going to hear me call it AP. And every enemy has a different amount of AP. It's not like they're guaranteed to have one or another. And it basically indicates how many actions can you, the player, take before they get a turn. And every element counts as 1 AP, and every Every element is 1 AP, and every physical attack is the amount of AP that the attack takes. So it is like I just did a 2-2-3 that took 7 AP. If once the AP of the enemy gets down to 0, they will get a turn. And if you buffer a physical attack, so like if you use a physical attack that brings them down to 0 and then buffer a second physical attack on top of it, you can do what's called stamina pushing, and the game will register that one physical attack. You can't buffer more than one. So what you'll see me doing is I'll do like a 2, and then I'll wait, and then I'll do a 2-3. And that way, if the first 2 is just to get some damage off, the second 2 brings the AP down to 0, and then the 3 will allow me to get that extra 3 hit in before the enemy gets to go. It is not too important on fights like the one I just did, but on some of the bosses in the later dungeons, it can be very important to do. So now we're here in Termina, and Kid sees why we didn't want to spend time with her. That's because we have a cool girlfriend named Lena. So she gets all mad and storms off. She'll be back in like literally a minute. Then we talk to this guy and we learn about General Viper. General Viper is over in Viper Manor. I didn't really mention it, but the soldiers were basically sent by General Viper and someone named Lynx that we have yet to meet. And so we're trying to figure out why they sent soldiers after Surge, especially when Surge is apparently dead in this world. So we see this statue of General Viper. We learn about Viper Manor. We have to infiltrate that. Kid overhears this and comes and joins our party, even though we offended her twice already. And then we are on our way. So this is another big choice in the game. There are 3 ways to get into Viper Manor, and each one recruits one different character. You can either recruit Guile, who's a magic user, and has probably the hardest path into Viper Manor. You can recruit Nikki, who probably has the medium path into Viper Manor, who's a pretty cool character as well. He's like a rock star. Or you can take Pierre, who has... actually, it is a pretty difficult way into Viper Manor, but it is very fast. And that is obviously in the speedrun why we do it. We grab the Profiteer purse there. And I'm going to talk to the blacksmith, and we're going to do some stuff. So I'm going to disassemble the Profiteer purse and the Ivory Mail. And we're going to build the Iron Swallow and the Iron Dagger. So iron is very good at this stage of the game. Steel weapons are extremely powerful right now. And there's really no way for you to have iron yet to build them. But the Profiteer purse is an item. I think it gives you more money in battle. Or something like that. I don't know exactly what it does. But it disassembles into 3 iron. So we can make ourselves some iron weapons, like, right away, which is phenomenal. So we talk to Pierre. We learn that he lost his medal, and we're going to go give it back to him. Something you'll see me do also throughout is you'll see me walk past an objective and then like backtrack to it. That's because when you talk to somebody, or if you like talk to somebody, or if you trigger a cutscene, a lot of the time what'll happen is your other party members will walk into a formation, and their walk is obviously slower than their run. So I will run past something to move my other characters forward, and then run back because it's just faster than letting them walk their way into formation. So now we have access to Pierre. We're going to add him to our party here. We chose not to add him there because he has like a little bit more dialogue. If you add him right there. And make our way into Viper Manor. So Pierre's plan is basically he's this valiant knight, valiant swordsman, and he is just going to get allowed into Viper Manor. And that does not happen. So the backup plan is charge. Oh, I did forget to equip. Should be fine for this fight, but I just need to equip before the next fight. And Pierre is 100% useless, by the way. We will, unless a strategy explicitly requires us use somebody who isn't Kid and Surge, we will literally just never use them in battle. The damage he does is just quite literally not worth the time it takes for him to like move up and back. This battle is taking forever without my iron weapons. Nice crit. I actually probably could have gotten away with using him in this battle because I don't have my good weapons right now because I forgot to equip. All right. That was probably like 5 turns too long, but whatever. All right. So we want the Iron Swallow and the Iron Dagger. Okay. All right, so yet another Salt and Pepper fight. And this one, because this one is sort of an optional fight, because depending on the path you take into Viper Manor, you may or may not have to do this battle. Basically, every path has 2 bosses on the way in. The fight we just did was a boss, and then this one. This one doesn't really have any sort of tutorial to it, but this is a very comedic fight. And it is the entire reason we have Pierre out in front. This is scripted to do 1 billion damage. And if it KOs Surge or Kid, it can be kind of bad. So we always put Pierre out front to take that hit. Those attacks, fun little fact, those attacks can miss. And if they miss, he'll basically attack again. If all 3 of his attacks miss, then you don't get a revive there, you get a Cure Plus instead. Which is actually bad if you get a Cure Plus because of the field effect, which I haven't really talked about field effect. So if you look in the upper left corner, there's this field effect that's got a yellow, and a white. That changes every time you use an element, or anytime anybody uses an element. The field effect will change. And right now there's 2 whites and a yellow. That means white is going to be boosted. Yellow is also going to be boosted. Black is going to be hindered because there are 2 whites on the board. And green is going to be hindered because there's 1 yellow on the board. And so depending on what elements are used, you'll get different things to happen. That is extremely bad. I'm going to run away and try this fight again. Fun fact, you can run away from every battle, including boss battles. Unfortunately, any cutscenes that happen during the battle have to happen again. That was just bad luck getting targeted by targeted by Ketchup the first time, and then Also the second time. Yeah, if you get a game over, you die. The nice thing about the remake is they did add an autosave. So every time you go to the world map or anytime you access one of the save points, you will get an autosave. But yeah, if your full team wipes, it is a game over. So that is pretty bad. You can run away from every battle and re-menu. There's one battle that you cannot menu after. And we will 100% make sure that we hit the autosave before that. If you die in the game, you die in real life. This is true. That strengthen is fine? Question mark? Okay. Try this again. I feel like it did more damage that time. So ideally this goes into Pierre. Pierre, like I said, is quite literally useless. We will need him in a bit. But him dying now is perfect, because that means nobody else died. And now we're just dealing damage. Physical attacks are faster than elements. So the majority of the time when you see me like cleaning up a battle, I'll be using physical attacks. Very rarely will I use elements, but it does happen. I thought that was the end of the fight. There we go. So not the best start to the game, or start to that fight anyways, but that is okay. All right, cool. So grab that turn yellow. I kind of mentioned it briefly earlier, but there are turn elements in this game, one for every color, and you can use it on either an enemy or yourself, or like one of your allies, I should say. And it will turn that character that color for a certain amount of time. And so that means that their physical attacks will be that color, and their defensively will represent that color as well. So we'll use that a lot on ourselves to turn ourselves the opposite color of the enemy so we can deal more damage. So now we have to sneak our way into Viper Manor. There is a front door that we're going to walk in, but it is locked. And in order to get the key, we have to do this little mini game. This mini game is scripted, so we will be able to do this quickly. We have to feed 10 dragons. You can only feed a dragon if it is hungry, and it indicates that it's hungry by raising its head like this. And it is scripted. It's 23514, 23512. I messed that up. Good. Grab the key. Wait, you can do what? I don't remember what I said. The enemies in this area don't see you unless the spotlight sees you. The enemies trolling around the path in this area will. There is a way to do like this kind of cool trick called guard skip, where this battle here is basically scripted. You always have to fight them. But if you have a different guard chase you and then give up on chasing you as you enter the door, you can skip this fight. It's kind of cool. Yeah, you can use the turn color elements on yourself. We use that a lot in the run, actually. All right. I'm gonna steal this. No, I'm not. That was a mistake on my part. Something not a lot of people know about the stealing in this game. So there's only 2 characters in the game that can steal. It's Kid, and then Fargo is a pirate that we'll meet later on. Stealing, the accuracy for stealing depends on your... Oh, wait, I can't steal again. What am I doing? Depends on your accuracy of your 3 attack, like your strong physical attack. So because Kid hadn't... As you hit your physical attacks, your accuracy goes up. And because I hadn't been attacking, the steal was basically doomed to fail. All right, so we fall through the trap door. And look at this. Conveniently, 3 guards with outfits that we could totally steal for ourselves. So I'm going to attempt to steal again on this one. I only have to steal because we didn't get a helmet drop earlier, and the helmet's just like a little bit of extra defense. I probably would have survived against Salt and Pepper the first time if I had the helmet on. Another nice little thing about this game that not every RPG had. I know some of them did, but this one is really nice. When you are fainted at the end of battle, you get revived. So Pierre is at 1 health, even though he was dead. Which I find really cool. I messed up this fight because of the steal. Don't hit Pierre. Come on. I do eventually need Pierre alive. In fact, after this fight, I need Pierre alive. I'll have to manually heal him. Should get tablets, yeah. Okay, cool. All right, so the trapdoor was basically attached to this weird statue that you're allowed to turn a certain amount of times to the left and a certain amount of times to the right. And in order to figure out that code, the code changes. It is different from playthrough to playthrough. So we need to go through this little thing to watch Glenn write down the code. Yes, Poshel will also get a guard outfit, I think. Actually, I think, if I remember right, you have to have Kid, and you have to have your Viper Manor escort in your party as well. Oh my god. That is the god one. Because, as you can imagine, the turns take time. So... getting a 1-1 is actually really good. Literally saves, like, multiple seconds. All right, so we're going to grab a couple items here, basically for selling. Well, the sword is for selling, and then the armor is for its armor, so... okay, so I need to give you turn yellow and revive. And then we need to give you the copper mail. I'm going to give you that and that. Oh yeah, the password is kind of fun. So if you get the password wrong, you have to fight the guards. But the password is don't pick an option, which is a nice little touch, I think. All right, and then we are now about to fight. I didn't heal. It should be fine. Not healing here should be fine. Pierre has to do one job. Pierre has basically two jobs on this fight. The first job is he can use turn yellow on Surge to turn your Surge yellow, so he deals more damage to the Neo N bulbs. The second job Pierre has is he has revive on him in case one of the actually good characters dies. If he happens to die, it means that he took an attack that one of the other characters didn't, so it should be fine. But we'll see. I just have to get that one turn yellow on Surge. Boom. All right, Pierre's job is basically done. This is one of the first fights that I think casually I struggled with back like 10 years ago. Or not 10, like almost 20 years ago. Yeah, Pierre takes the attack. That means somebody else didn't take the attack. So this is fine. You're still alive. Wow, okay. That's good. Ooh, bad miss. This should be GG though. All right, cool. Good fight. It's actually a really good fight. I'm going to manually heal here as well. So something else I didn't mention. If you look at the category, it's Lynx at Fort Dragonia, no boosters. So the remaster of this game has a few different boosters. It's got your typical like speed up, slowdown. But then it also has a no encounter booster, so you can basically turn off encounters. It has a battle boost, which is actually really cool. You can you basically take no damage, which is kind of silly, but it also always gives you a full element grid, which I think can add for some like really interesting stuff. And then it also has an auto battle, which I don't know how auto battle works, but we won't be using any of those. Speed up would obviously make the game faster, as well as the no encounters would make the game pretty fast. So, but the community at large typically prefers to play no boosters. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put in our really complicated code here. Fantastic. I can't believe that that was there. Oh, speed up is phenomenal for casual play, I think. The thing that's interesting about speed up is like speed up in a game like Final Fantasy IX is a game I always compare to this one just because I played both of them at the same time. I forgot to heal Pierre again. And it makes way more sense for speed up in a game like that because grinding actually exists, but grinding doesn't really exist in this game. So speed up is more just like getting through the game faster, which in moments like this is a very story-based part. If you've either played the game before or if you don't want to watch this guy walk for 5 seconds, then you can speed that up. No, and this is a dangerous fight, so Pierre dying here could be bad. I'm going to leave it alone, and I'll run if I have to, but we'll see. So here we get sort of another plot dump a little bit. Basically what he's telling us is there are 2 alternate worlds that are parallel universes, and In one of those worlds, Surge is alive and well, and in the other world, Surge has died, and he just happens to be in that world. He mentions that there is a way to change between the worlds, but we do not know what that way is yet. So we will be able to go back to that world, but actually, we won't see that at all in this run. Going back to the other world. And because the game has so many characters, it's really cool to see, like, I take Lena from this world into the other world, and they can, like, talk to each other. It's really weird. It's a really cool game. But this is Marcy. Marcy is one of the, like, elite knights of Viper Manor. Which, yeah, she's this, like, 6-year-old kid. It's fine. Oh, I have to run. I have to run so hard. I didn't know Kid was dead, too. All right. Yeah, I didn't realize Kid was mega dead. All right, start the fight the exact same way. Good. Attacking Pierre is fine. Every time like a boss attacks Pierre, it's the best thing ever. Marcy is the first instance of a fight where, oh, that misses so bad. We're really concerned about her HP. She has different things that can happen depending on how much HP she has left. And so if we knock her down to too low, I'm going to defend all and go for some slaps, yeah? If we get her too low, then she's going to start spamming Ice Blasts, which is a very powerful blue move. And Kid is red innate, meaning that she... Did I already dash and slash? I did, but I can fireball. Red innate, which means she takes a lot of damage from blue moves, and if she starts spamming Ice Blast into Kid, that can be really bad. But managed to not trigger that HP threshold, which is really good. Pierre is our preferable damage sponge for now. He will not be in our party for long. I am, like, really hurting when it comes to not having HP at all. Oh my god. Doors in this game can be hard. And I have a very difficult fight coming up, and I have no way to heal. Yeah, because I didn't really mention this. There are elements that are healing elements, and then there are elements that are consumable elements. You can only use consumable elements outside of battle. And as their name suggests, they are consumable, meaning once you use it, it is gone. I can use a move like Cure in battle, or at the end of battle, but I can't use it here. So in order for me to, like, efficiently heal, I think what I need to do I don't really know what the best course of action here is. We'll figure it out. I have a fight here which shouldn't be too difficult, and then there's a boss at the top that is quite difficult. Pierre being dead is fine. Kid being dead is bad. I mean, ideally, none of them are dead, but... Alright, so... Oh, what do I do? Alright, I got a tablet there. Everyone is healed. Okay, I don't believe that, but we'll take it. Like, we will... I don't believe that everyone is healed. I don't understand how we could have all been healed. But I will take it. This is one of the save points, but again, because of the remaster, it does have an autosave. These doors, if you try to open them when the eye is there, you'll fight an enemy. But if you wait till the eye closes, you don't. And here's Lynx. So Lynx is sort of the main antagonist of almost the entire game. Well, all right, this isn't Lynx. This is General Viper. But Lynx is coming out next. Lynx is an absolute disaster to fight. He is a black innate, which obviously Surge being a white innate can be very scary to go up against. He also has some really strange AI. A lot of times enemies, when they do physical attacks, will just run up to you and attack once. He has the chance to attack like 3 different times, and it always sounds painful whenever he does it. And he also has AI that will heal him if he's below a certain amount of HP. So what we're going to try to do is trigger a different part of his AI, which is AI that will... sorry, I was just looking at the notes. AI that will change the... Like, he'll try to counter something that we do. So, for example, if we use a white element against him, he wants to use anti-white, so we can't use any more white elements. If we use a magic spell, he's going to use the move Imbecile, which makes our magic do less. And what we're going to try to do is make sure that the counter happens when he would have healed. And so that is what we're going to do right now. Kid is going to get a 1-1-1-2. And then Pilfer. We want the magic ring here. There's the magic ring. Okay, so now that Kid did a... Now that Kid did a magic against him, he's going to use Imbecile. So that basically takes up his turn. I need Pierre to do something here. That's a bad miss. He's not even slouching right now. So I should get anti-white on Surge. That is fine. Oh my god, Pierre is so useless. Alright, I should be able to do a 1. Oh, that wasn't quite enough. He's gonna... He didn't heal. Alright, I'm actually completely shook. Cool. Whew. That was a stressful fight. Alright. So that is the first Lynx fight. So this run goes until the second Lynx fight. So that is what we're going to have to do a second time. Second time will hopefully be better than that time, though. So this is a very big story dump. So I don't know if there's any donations or announcements or anything, but now would be a good time for that. So basically, Lynx is going to try to mind game us. Without getting too much into the story of the game, Lynx, like the later story of the game, I should say, because I've been kind of trying to explain what's going on. Lynx really needs us, the player character, the Surge character, to come with him. He has some things that requires us specifically. But obviously we don't want to do that. So he tries to like call our existence into questions, like, why are you here? You know, isn't it weird that you're dead? Stuff like that. And we're trying to escape. So Kid takes Riddle hostage. Obviously we're just trying to get out with our lives. We don't really want to take a hostage. And then, yeah, so this is going to be like probably the biggest choice that you make in the entire game. I mentioned earlier there are some choices, so we chose Pierre to come with us to Viper Manor. What's going to happen here is we're going to get attacked. We're all going to jump off of the cliff here safely into the water and get rescued. However, Kid is going to suffer a little bit more than the rest of us. This dagger that gets thrown at her is actually poisoned. And, you know, we're going to have to choose, are we going to try to save Kid, or are we going to try, like, basically let her die? And the reason that's even a choice at all is because we learn in the next town that the poison that she's poisoned with is Hydra venom. And the only way to create an antidote for it is to have Hydra humor, and Hydras are extinct in El Nido, which is the place that we are. So there really is no way for us to get the ingredients to save her. So we are actually going to opt to not save her, unfortunately. I do think that there are some interesting fights and moments if you do opt to save her. However, we don't save her for two main reasons. The first reason is that we don't save her is it just takes time. It's not like, oh, saving her is one side quest and not saving her is a different one. It's saving her as a side quest, and not saving her does nothing. We just like advance to the next part of the game. And the second main reason is there are 3 characters that you get by saving her, and 3 characters that you can get when you don't save her. And one of the characters that we get for not saving her is probably the best playable character in the game. And so if it wasn't already faster for us to not save her, we would potentially not save her just so we can get this one character. This game is very unlike Pokemon in that there are a lot of strategies in the speedrun that rely on doing optional things just because it ends up being faster in the end. Like, I'm talking, there's a 20-minute side quest we do. We're not going to see it today, but there's a 20-minute side quest that's 100% optional that we opt to do in the speedrun because it literally gets us an item that saves us over 20 minutes later in the game. And don't worry, if you are playing this game, you can do New Game Plus and get all of the characters. So if you do choose wrong somewhere, you can always choose a different option later. But yeah, if you do choose to save her, basically the way that it works is Hydras are extinct in this timeline, but if you cross into your home world where your player character is alive, Hydras are also alive there, so you can basically do it that way. Yeah, this part is a lot of mashing, to say the least. Mashing in this game is not too bad. It's a single button mashing. Well, it's kind of double button mashing, but you don't have to hold a button. So it's kind of like Pokemon, like Sword and Shield, except just don't hold the button. kind of weird. Yeah, the Hydra fight can be difficult. It's kind of funny. There's a bunch of fights that are there that you have to do eventually because you have to go through the area. But you just in the speedrun, we don't do them until way later, and it gets to the point where there's like a boss that you're supposed to do that the game like wants you to do early, but because we do it later, the entire boss fight is like physical attack 2-2, and then it's done. But yeah, this is the other option I was talking about. So we have to say, no, I don't want to save her 3 times. But not saving her is the default option. So it is not as reset heavy as the earlier Ditch Kid option, where you have to like actually select the second option. All right, so we need to add Poshul to the party. Poshul's not actually going to be used. It's just the game requires you to have 3 people in your party. And we could put Lena in our party, because Lena's actually going to be in our party at the end of this whole section. Like before our next battle. But there are a few cutscenes that can trigger, because some of the characters like know other people in the game. And we have to go to the shop in Termina, and Lena knows the shopkeeper, so it wouldn't make sense for us to have her in our party right now because they have a little bit of extra dialogue. All right, so even though we didn't save Kid and this guy got really mad at us, we need to take his boat, so we're going to ask him for our boat. He's not going to give it to us, but his mother, Matcha, is going to come in, and we're going to explain everything to her, and she's going to be like, Korcha, you're an idiot. Give them your boat. Korcha is the playable character that you only get if you save Kid. I forget. I know there's a couple of... There's 3 characters on each side. I forget who the third one is on the Ditch Kid side. You gain... Matcha is one of them. Glenn is another one. Glenn is going to be the main character that we're very happy that we get. Glenn is basically Surge 2.0. Surge is a very strong physical attacker. I haven't actually been talking about it, but your strength is basically one of the only stats that matters. And you want to be seeing your strength go up. It's random if it does or not. It's complicated. Every time you beat a boss, you get a stat increase, and it could include strength, but it could not. But Glenn is also like a very strong attacker. And then Lena is going to be a pretty strong magic user that we're going to be using. Matcha, Glenn, and Doc. Yeah, that sounds right. And then it's Korcha, Mel, and Razly that you get if you try to save Kid. Alright, so now we're going to go talk to the shaman. The shaman basically identifies that we are not from this world, but indicates that she doesn't know how to get us to transfer between the worlds. Basically, she identifies that there will be some sort of space-time distortion, but does not know how to activate it and doesn't know where it is. Dimensional distortion, yeah. Not space-time distortion. That's from Legends Arceus. Well. So now we're going to make our way to Termina. Termina is... We're going to get a few characters, and we're also going to do a little bit of shopping. It's probably like our first big shopping trip of the run. There are a few of them. Exactly, Scion. And here we're finally going to buy some healing items, so I will not have the same issues I had during Viper Manor. I've never been that low on healing items. That was wild. And just in case I am talking over it with something else, while we are here in Termina, we're going to learn that General Viper and his gang of dragoons have gone to Fort Dragonia. And so that's where we're going to basically try to make our way to next. Which, Fort Dragonia is where this run is going to end. So it does have a little bit left. Got like a bit over an hour, I would say. But it is effectively the next thing that we're trying to get to. All right, so element shop, we've got tablet, medicine, ointment, cure plus heal all, beanball basher. Let me get through the shop, and then I have to share an interesting tidbit for everyone who runs Pokemon. Cure plus, heal all, beam, ball, basher. So, in Pokemon, starting in I think Gen 3, when you're trying to do a quantity of an item, if you hit up, you go up by 1, and if you hit right, you go up by a 10. So you can go like straight from 1 to 11 to 21 like that. In this game, it is the exact opposite. It is if you hit up and down, you go up by 10, and if you hit left and right, you go up by 1. And I hate it. Disassemble, silver earring, knee pad. Sell. It's the exact opposite of Pokemon, and I mess it up every single time. All right, so we've set up our weapons for the next however long. Again, trying to primarily get iron weapons. Iron weapons are very, very powerful at this stage of the game, so anything less than that is just not ideal. And every character has a certain weapon class. So Surge, for example, has a Swallow, like a two-sided blade. Glenn, who's this character here that we're going to get, has swords, which is why we got ourselves a Steel Sword. Lena's main weapon of choice are cooking utensils. So we just got her an Iron Ladle, which is interesting. And you will see she will literally just hit people with a ladle. It's actually really funny. So now that we've done our shopping and we know that we're going to Fort Dragonia, we are good to go. So we're going to gain access to the boat. And then Glenn's going to come by and ask to borrow this boat because he has to go to Fort Dragonia. And it's like, hey, what a coincidence. That's where we're going to. So he joins our party. And we also gain access to Matcha here as well, so we're going to let her join the party too. She's not going to actually be used. But we add her to the party because sometimes characters have different like cutscenes that happen if you let them join your party right away, or if you like force them to leave right away. Matcha spends like literally 20 seconds backstroking her way to the Goldove, the island that we were just on, and like that cutscene takes forever, so you just add her to the party even though you don't actually need her. We're gonna stop by here in Marble. Marble is going to be a place that we're gonna buy some rare elements. We're gonna buy a bunch of turn elements as well as some status elements, things like strengthen and like that. Think like X items in Pokemon. Right. And then I need to do some equipping. First, I need to get Lena into the party. And then, okay, so sort by healing. I need Strengthen, Turn Blue, and Revive. And then Eagle Eye, Turn Red, Turn White. And Aqua Beam. Okay. Okay. Menuing in this game can be very satisfying if you're good at it, but I'm not the best at it, so that probably looked a little slow. So Fort Dragonia is through the fog, so we go into the fog, and there are rumors circulating that there is a ghost ship, so we're like, hey, is this the ghost ship? And for some reason, we go, hey, is this the ghost ship? Let's board and see if it is. I don't know why. This is one of those moments that fast forward would be really nice for. You just sort of sit here forever. And yeah, so if you were to go and save Kid, this is where the two like choices reconverge, is right here. So I spent time in Termina doing some shopping, and I would have had to spend that entire time going to the other world, recruiting characters, saving Kid, all this other stuff. We just go straight into this. Turns out this is not the ghost ship, by the way. This is a pirate ship. So we explain what's going on. We need to go to Fort Dragonia to stop Lynx and General Viper. And the pirates are like, let's have some fun and do some battles. This is one of my favorite moments in the game. Because, so I mentioned earlier, you can run away from every battle. And if you run into like a random encounter, running away from that battle means you can just like, get past it. Because all of the encounters are overworld, right? Bosses, when you run away from, you have to refight. Like, you can't skip bosses. This is a mandatory battle. They thrust you into the battle, but if you run away, not mandatory, it's an unavoidable battle. They thrust you in, but if you run away, Fargo says, well, they're not worthy enough opponents for you, are they? And then lets you skip it and instantly thrust you into the next boss battle. It's just like, it's funny that that was like an accounted for scenario. That they're like, you didn't want to fight them? All right, that's fine. Okay, so this is going to be the same structure as a lot of fights. What we're going to do is turn our main damage dealer into the opposite color of our opponent. Do a little bit of damage and some magic as Lena, because Lena is primarily a magic user. And then start dealing physical damage. That crit was very nice. You'll notice that the full field effect is blue, which is why my attacks are doing a little bit more damage. And this flap is going to do almost nothing. Actually, we'll do this. So yeah, easy boss fight. And now the Fargo fight coming up next. So Fargo is a blue innate character. So instead, we're going to basically turn ourselves red to try and deal more damage. And this is also one of the only cases in this run. You use it a bit more late game in the main speedrun. But of a dual tech. So I haven't really talked about techs, but techs are the moves that have like a little symbol next to them. They're elements. They have a little symbol. There's one on the level 3, 5, and 7 as you level up. And those are unique to each character. Nobody has dash and slash except for Surge. And like Chrono Trigger, there are dual techs, which means there are two characters who can combine their techs into the same move. There's only a handful of them in the game, and Surge and Glenn have a dual tech. So Surge has dash and slash, Glenn has dash and gash. And when combined, they turn into X Strike. And X Strike is a red move. So this is going to deal a lot of damage. And there it is. And watching my strength has gone up actually a lot, which is awesome. And yeah, what Wells was talking about was this fight. We defeat them, and they're like, yeah, but we always play dirty, and they actually had poisoned us. So they take us captive. And remember how we thought this was a ghost ship, and then it turned out to be a pirate ship? Well, although my timing was not very good on that one. Because there's a little dream sequence here. Man, some of these FMVs make no sense if you're not going to play the whole game. That'll make sense in like in speedrun terms. That'll make sense in 5 hours. Or probably like 4.5, but still. But yeah, here's the ghost ship. Ship's gonna get overtaken by ghost ship, and this is gonna be one of the most technical parts of the run. Hopefully I can do it. There's a trick here called Ghost Dance that we're going to try to do. So the way this section is structured is there is a locked door that we have to get through. And there are 3 people that can have the key. And we have to talk to one person, and that will, like, in game design ways, will give somebody the key. If we run away from that person while we are talking to them, it'll always be the third person, but otherwise it is a completely random chance who has the key. While we are talking to that person, we have to stay there, like I mentioned, while they're going through their thing. And there's one of these ghost enemies that is just there. So we have to try to avoid them. So the idea is going to be, we're going to try to kite this ghost around and not encounter it while we're talking to everybody. And that is right here. So hopefully we can do it. We gotta talk to this guy. We gotta talk to him again. There we go. I'm gonna bring the ghost down here. And then we're gonna go all the way up. Talk to this guy. I have to not leave while talking to him. All right, we're good. And in the door. Perfect. So now one of 3 people have the key. That guy that was just fighting the bones could have the key, but we want this item here, which is a panacea. It's a consumable status healing item. So we're gonna fight this one first. I did that wrong. Yeah, that would make it about 6 hours into the run. The run's about 6.5 hours long. So there's a lot of plot dump at the very end of the game. All right, so we grab the panacea, and then we're going to talk to the guy. Hopefully he has the key. He does not have the key, so we're gonna go back and fight the guy, or fight these crossbones. All these enemies are gonna have like one overworld sprite, but they could be something completely different in battle. Like it's possible that this is 2 ghosts, for example. 2, 3. My strength is really high right now, which is awesome. Ah, he does not have the key. So it was 3rd key. Unfortunate. Luckily, the 3rd key is like back toward where we need to go anyways. Also, something to note, these all the doors in the ghost ship are incredibly difficult to actually get through. Like the mashing X on the door like sometimes just doesn't register. And you can be in panic mode if there's a ghost coming at you while you are like struggling to get in the door. It's pretty funny. We ran away there. There was 4 enemies. Deadbeats. Do I want to deal with this? Yeah, I'll deal with this, I guess. Oh, that's rough. Yeah, it's just completely random. All right, so now this guy's gonna have the key. Cool. So now we have some more enemy dodging to do. There is a way, like a faster way through this room, but I'm not very good at it. We're just gonna take the little hidey holes. Run outside. Another thing is there is these ghosts that you can dodge. And I actually did. Wow. I've been really bad at that. So that was nice and lucky. Okay. Through there. There's another ghost that's supposed to spawn that didn't. That's actually pretty funny. If I was doing full any percent, I would grab that chest, but I'm not. We don't use it anywhere. It's a photon beam element in there. Yeah, I didn't catch much of the race on RPG Limit Break, but not RPG Limit Break. It was really, really long-a-thon, but I heard it was good. Is this the fastest version of the game? So actually, I didn't really talk about that. So yeah, the remaster is faster than the originals. I am currently playing on a PlayStation 5. It is believed that PC is fastest, but we don't really have good numbers yet. The other thing that's kind of complicating things is the remaster doesn't exactly play the best. And so one of the things the community is trying to decide on is using mods that help with like the input delay and the lag in battles, but not really impact the gameplay at all. And so that's why if you look at the leaderboards, I think right now the console boards are open because there are no mods for consoles, but the PC ones aren't because we're just trying to figure out exactly what to do. All right, so here is the Deadhead boss. So Deadhead is your quintessential RPG undead enemy, meaning if we use healing spells on it, or healing elements on the enemy, it will damage them instead. So that's what part of our strategy here is going to be. We're going to go ahead and strengthen Surge. Deadhead is a black innate, so our white innate character is going to deal the most damage. Lena is going to use an Eagle Eye. Eagle Eye is kind of like your X accuracy. So now all of Surge's physical attacks will be 99% to hit. That is a true 99%. That is not just like a graphical thing and it's actually 100%. You can miss it. And missing is obviously... Like, usually the strategies account for missing. Except for on 99 hits. Like, if any of the 99 ones miss, you kind of are off book. I got that crit, so I wonder if I even need the extra Cure Plus. Oh, wait, no, not you. That's fine. I'll use it anyways. Okay, cool. Crit saved me like a half a turn there. The least the game could do after giving me third key. Alright. So now we have rid the pirate ship of the undead enemies, so the game, or so the pirates are like, we like you, you can have your boat back. And now we are off to Fort Dragonia. So in order to get to Fort Dragonia, we have to go through Mount Pyre. Yes, it is Mount Pyre, just like in Pokemon. And Mount Pyre is a volcano. And so there are lava pools that we have to walk through. If we did the Save Kid side quest, we could have gotten this like dragon blessing from the water dragon to freeze the lava, and we could walk through without taking damage, but unfortunately we don't have that, so we are going to take damage every time. Actually, I forgot to do something. I'm gonna be right back. Yeah, it takes place in Hoenn, it's great. I need to go back to Marble and buy some stuff. I completely forgot to do that. Now that we've done the ghost ship, there's a second shop in Marble that opens with some extra elements. And on that list are Diminish and Magnify. Diminish and Magnify... Diminish will make all magic attacks do less, and Magnify makes all magic attacks do more. And it's magic on both sides, not just ours. So we just need to get those. We're going to be using a lot of Magnifies. Diminish is actually more of like a placeholder than anything. All right, back to Mount Pyre. Haha, Mount Pyre, Hoenn. All right, cool. Same joke. So go through the lava, and then we're going to do a bit of a menu here. Allocate. We're going to remove Strengthen and put, whoops, Aqua Beam over Revive. Oh, wait. I always do this wrong. Whatever, it's fine. Blue, Genius. Right here. So throughout this basically this whole section, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using Lena primarily for magic, Glenn primarily for physical attack. And it's perfect to start here because this is another one of those tutorial fights against Salt and Pepper. This one is really funny. Obviously, we're skipping all the text, but if you ever have a chance, like, watch this fight from a casual playthrough. Basically, what happens is, through the earlier fights, the common theme was they wanted to use black elements against Surge because black elements are obviously more powerful. So finally now, they have their hands on a black element called Black Hole, which is a very powerful element. If this hits us, it probably kills us. But instead, Salt is like, hey, watch what I can do, and sets up a trap. It's teaching us about trap elements, where you can set up a trap, and if an enemy uses the element, you can steal it. And you can equip it after your battle. So Pepper finally gets really frustrated that that happens. And the whole thing is funny. It's one of those things you gotta experience the battle. And that is one of the changes they made. It used to just be W's. We don't recognize the WHs here. I'm sorry. So we set up Glenn with Strengthen and an Eagle Eye, so it's basically like an X attack and an X accuracy. All right, we got a crit, which is good. Thanks for the good luck, Amiibo. Oh, that's not what I want. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bush Basher, the other one. Oh, I did that kind of wrong. Oh, I should have done a 2-2. It's not like what I'm doing is dangerous. It's more just less than optimal. Although I say that, Glenn's almost dead. Good. Okay. One thing that's a little awkward about going off book is things like Eagle Eye and Strengthen only persist for a certain amount of time. And so if you don't defeat the enemy fast enough, you lose your 99% and your Strengthen and stuff. So then like things just take a long time. All right, head back through the lava. 2 more bosses here in Mount Pyre. Okay, we can dodge this enemy. I'm gonna go ahead and heal back up. Actually, that's not what I wanted to do. I want to give you the Iron Vest, you the Iron Mail. And here I am going to purposely run into the save. This fight here is the one fight in the game that if you run away from it, it will thrust you immediately back into the battle. You do not have a chance to menu or anything. Every other boss fight, sometimes you have like a prompt you have to say like, I'm not ready, and the game will let you menu. But this one, when you run away, it's just a black screen, and it's like, hey, what are you doing? Get back here. And then it makes you fight again. So if I happen to get into a really bad situation, I may have to like reset, essentially. Eagle Eye Glenn. This is a complicated fight. There's a lot of branching paths here. I was not attacked yet. So let me get a 3-3 in. So that's a example of stamina pushing. Or, yeah, stamina pushing, making sure that we get the extra attack in before they get to go. Aqua Beam. And then we're going to use Surge to turn Glenn blue. That way Glenn does more damage. Alright, we get our 3/3. So now we're going to get a Fiery Breath. It's a very strong move, but it only goes against one person. So ideally not Lena. Lena died is... Like, we can account for it, but it's not good. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Come on. Genius, Lena. So this is like an X special attack, so now my elements are going to do more as Lena. Glenn is going to use Magnify, which is kind of like an X special attack, but for the whole field. Revive is 100% chance, yes. So this is a little bit awkward because I believe his next attack is an AoE, which might kill everybody. You have Aqua Beam, don't you? Yeah. I did jack shit. All right, thank God. Whew. That was a little sketchy, but we got through it. Alright. Now we're going to make our way. Final boss of Mount Pyre. This is actually a 3 Divas fight. So we have already fought Karsh once. We've already fought Marcy once. We have not fought Zoa. If we had taken Nikki with us to Viper Manor, we would have fought Zoa already. But now we have to fight all 3 at a time. And this fight can be pretty tricky. But the strategy for this fight's really cool. We basically focus down one person at a time, but we always do chip damage to the other ones. So for example, like Marcy is going to be our first, the first thing that we're going to deal damage, or that we're going to take out. Marcy is the best one to take out first because she has the lowest AP, meaning she's going to get the most moves off. But we're not even going to attack Marcy to start. We're going to go ahead and do some chip damage to Karsh. Get our Strengthen off. And then we're going to do some chip damage to Zoa. Good. Axial Axe is fine. Marcy gets to move every, like, 6 turns. Zoa gets to move every 11. So, like, we will not see Zoa use many moves, but we can. And then Surge. 1, 2, 3. And then we X Strike into Marcy. And that should take out Marcy. Very good. Now we're going to focus on Zoa. So 1, 1, 2. And then we're going to Bush Basher to Zoa. Deal a little bit of magic damage to him. Sturge is going to Eagle Eye Glenn. Eagle Eye is good for 2 main reasons. 1, obviously the percentage, but 2, it's going to give us another green on the field effect. So now Glenn's damage is doing even more. And this should kill Zoa. Perfect. So now we just have to finish off the 1 enemy we have remaining. Funny, this turn blue on Glenn is purely to give a blue on the field effect. Doesn't actually help the physical damage at all. And then Glenn should be able to 3-3. And not finish, so we're just going to have to do a little bit of cleanup here. If somebody dies here, that's okay. Surge taking that damage is probably the best. Perfect. That fight went really well. That was one of the fights I struggled with a lot when I was first running this game. All right, so we are now done with Mount Pyre, and are officially on our way into Fort Dragonia. So Fort Dragonia, the fights are going to go kind of similar to how we just did these last couple fights. Lena's going to be a main magic dealer. Glenn is going to be the main sort of, physical attacker. Surge is going to do a lot of setup, things like that. One of the things, so the battle we're going to have immediately when we enter Fort Dragonia is actually not always here. If you opted to save Kid, you actually would have gotten another boss fight earlier on. And the game needed a way to give the people who didn't save Kid that boss fight to make sure everyone's the same level going into Fort Dragonia. So they quite literally just throw this random enemy at the start and call him a boss. The other thing is the drop from this fight is always the Frog Prince summon. So there are summons in this game. I'll explain how they work when we actually start using them. But again, it's one of those things you would have gotten if you were to have saved Kid. But we just, we didn't save Kid because it was faster not to. Yeah, the Frog Prince summon is very cool. Summons in general in this game are very cool. I'll defend here. Oh wait, no. Went ahead in the fight. So now you defend, and now you get your cookie off. Cool. All right, so yeah, we get our Frog Prince summon. I'm gonna go ahead and do some menuing here. We want weak-minded. Oh, I went the wrong way. All right. Cool. Okay, so summons. The way that summons work in this game is there are 2 summons for each innate color. So there are 12 total summons. And you're given all of the level 8 summons later in the game. But the level 7 summons are a lot harder to get. The game gives you Frog Prince. You'll always get Frog Prince on a playthrough, which is the level 7 summon for the blue color. And in order to use a summon, It has to be equipped on a character of that innate. So I can't equip Frog Prince on Surge, for example, because he's white innate. But Lena is blue innate, so I can. In order to use the summon in battle, the full field has to be that color. So you have to change the field effect to completely blue in order to use Frog Prince. And so a lot of the strategies here in Fort Dragonia are going to revolve around us doing a bunch of setup, having the enemy use a move, and then once the enemy has moved and we have the maximum amount of time before they move again, we will set up all of our blue attacks, get the field to be fully blue, get Lena to use Frog Prince, and hopefully that will be enough to defeat the boss. In some cases, we'll have to do a little bit of chip damage afterward as well. Depends on stats and things like that. But yeah, so that's going to be the general format for every fight here in Fort Dragonia. The puzzle for Fort Dragonia involves you have to basically activate all of the crystals. There's one crystal for each color. So this is the yellow crystal. 2 of the crystals have puzzles that you have to do. This is one of them. And the other 4 all have either a mini puzzle or a maze followed by a boss battle. So no boss in the yellow room. Just puzzle. This puzzle involves, depending on the order of your party, because you can change your party order. Something not a lot of people know. You can change your party order by hitting select. Depending on what order your party is in, when you talk to that thing in the room with the 3 footprints, you could end up with a different spot for the platform. And so you can get all the various items and actually complete the puzzle as well. And then there's like a little thing. So you can cycle through your party like this. So Lena, Glenn, Surge, Lena, Surge, Lena, Glenn. But then you can also, there's a little platform that will change the order, like swap 2 of the characters around, so that way you can get all 6 combinations. Yeah, I've been watching, because of the remaster came out, a lot of people have been doing their first playthrough. I've been actually watching a lot of people, and a lot of people get stuck on this. On that puzzle in particular. Mostly because they don't realize you can hit select to change your party order. We do it a lot in the speedrun because some of the moves that are like strengthen, like the status moves that boost your party, they auto-target whoever is in your first spot of your party. So having the characters that you want strengthened a lot in your first slot is better just because it's less inputs. Here we have Lena out front because we're going to be using Genius a lot, which is sort of the magic equivalent of strengthen. It also looks like I'm being very cautious with these bats, and I am being cautious, but they will like hone you down and come at you if you're not too careful. So, all right, so this is the boss for the blue room. This is Giant Gloop. Giant Gloop actually helps us out setting the field to blue in order to use Frog Prince, which is really cool. That's unfortunate. This fight can be dangerous if you let it linger for a while, but the way we do it in the speedrun is pretty consistent. Doing a lot of misses though. This can be bad. If this freezes me, that's really bad. It looks like I'm not frozen. All right. Magnify. See how I switched targets, but when you use Genius, it automatically goes to Lena. Defend all. We get blue fields, which is very nice. And now we just have to build up to the 5 there, and we can use Frog Prince. So this is the summon. Summons have longer animations, but they're very powerful. Just like that. And that was not enough. We're actually going to do an attack with it. Lena's magic must be awful. I haven't been paying attention to her magic stat. So I did the low magic fight, but it must be even lower. Low magic is very scary for the next fight. So hopefully it's just something else went wrong on that fight. And my magic is actually fine. We want to see 15 magic. All right, now I have 15. That's good. So that's blue. Next puzzle room, or not puzzle. Next room is the green room, which is more of a maze than a puzzle. And there is a boss at the end. This boss here is one of the first ones in the run that you really have to, like, if you don't understand how AP works, essentially the action points, the way that the enemy knows when it can attack. If you don't really understand AP, or if you have trouble like keeping track of it and whatnot, this is a very hard fight to do. Essentially every time Taurusoid gets a move or gets a turn, he's going to use an element. So we really need to make sure that we set up our entire blue field to get the Frog Prince summon off while, like, in between his attacks. He has pretty high AP. It's 11 AP, so you can get 11 attacks in, or 11 actions in, I should say, before you before he gets to go. But it's, yeah, it can be bad. Like mistimed misses and things like that can make it rather unfortunate. Other thing to worry about in this area is there are these paperboy enemies. They go invisible, and when they're invisible, you can go through them. In the original game, they would go invisible, but you could totally still see them. They actually go straight up invisible, so they're actually a little bit harder to deal with in the remaster. And there's one down here that can be tough to see coming up. Yeah, just like that. Not a big deal. You can get past it. Encounters in this game are relatively quick. The worst part about the encounters in the game, though, are sometimes... So bosses cannot roll a 0 starting AP. So bosses can never go first in a battle. But regular enemies can. So if you run into a random encounter, sometimes they'll get to go first, and it's just unfortunate. So here's Taurusoid. We'll see how this goes. So Lena wants to get up to level 5. Okay, bad start. It's not impossible, but it is a bad start. Glenn getting attacked there is better than any other of the alternatives. 1-1. We're going to Weak-Minded. Weak-Minded is like a... Think of like fake tears or something in Pokemon. We're lowering his magic defense. I'm just like equating everything to Pokemon. I love it. All right. Glenn is going to go ahead and get up to level 4. And then defend. And then Surge is going to Genius Lena. And now we basically have to defend everybody until Taurusoid gets a move. There it is. Glenn is going to magnify. So now we're basically all set up. So we're going to magnify the field, and we're going to use a bunch of blue elements to try and get the blue field up. And we have to do this all in under 11 actions. So I've taken 1 action. This is 2. This is going to be 3. Good. This is 4. And then Aqua Ball will be 5 actions. Glenn, this will be 6 actions. And then Lena will have to get up to level 5, which is just a single 1 attack. And there. So we should still have 3 actions to spare, but our entire team is at 0 or less stamina, so we likely will get attacked here if this does not kill. It should kill. Yeah, cool. Definitely a scary fight, but we got through that pretty well. All right, so 1 more puzzle room, and then 1 more puzzle room, and then we are off to sort of like the final gauntlet of fights for this run. We have 4 more bosses left. Throw Surge back in the front. Surge. Surge isn't really like the main damage dealer on the next fight, but it makes more sense. It's like very minimal time loss to change your party order, so whatever's most convenient for fights we usually will switch to. Alright, so here's the red room. The other thing you'll notice is I mentioned there are 6 crystals, but there's only 4 rooms here. They do the 4 like main colors, red, blue, yellow, orange, or yellow, orange, yellow, green. And then the white and the black ones are kind of like special rooms. This puzzle is kind of interesting. This is one that I see a lot of people... I mentioned I was watching a lot of people play for the first time recently because of the remaster. This is one a lot of people figure out by accident, but don't actually like understand what happens in this room. Basically, there's a statue there, and the statue is always facing north, quote unquote. And so you want to tell it, where do you want to drop? And you have to say which direction you're dropping relative to the direction he is currently facing. And that will change because every time you drop, he then turns to that direction. So if you were to drop north every time, he'll never change directions. But if you drop south every time, you'll basically ping pong back and forth between where he was originally facing and directly behind that. So one of the drops is like nothing. One of them is the correct choice. One of them is a loot choice, so you get a bunch of chests. And then the other one's more of like a trap where there's a bunch of enemies. But people end up like getting confused and just trying random ones and eventually getting it right. So it's kind of an interesting puzzle. I like that one personally. But it is kind of a bummer that you can like solve it without actually solving it. I'm gonna take the autosave real quick. Run in here. So this is where the white crystal is, and guarding the white crystal is Soul Rock. No, this is Son of a Gun. Son of a Gun is a very bizarre enemy, to say the least. Okay. But we had a really good start, so we should be fine. This enemy has different forms it can take. It does like a mood change. So sometimes it's happy, sometimes it's sad. And depending on its mood, it takes more or less damage based like it'll take more physical damage sometimes and more magic damage sometimes. And so it's currently in a magic damage phase. So we set up our blue field and then get the Frog Prince off. This fight worked perfectly. This should deal enough damage. If it doesn't, then we can just do a little bit more chip damage. So creepy. So creepy. But that was a good fight. That fight can absolutely troll you if you're not careful. So there's the white crystal. And then one crystal left. Also, I don't know if anyone was around for the start of the run, but if you were, this might look familiar. This is literally where the game starts. This is like the beginning of the dream sequence. So it's kind of funny. Or it's kind of fun that they do this. I definitely remember this was like a kind of moment for when you're playing for the first time. That's unfortunate. I got hit by a pillar. No 0 AP. Thank you. I don't like hitting enemies here because there's one enemy in particular I always hit. So hitting 2 enemies is time lost. Oh, no, get through. All right, we're good. There are some enemies that are like really weird. All right, this is the one I always hit, so this is fine. There's something about the camera angle in this room. I just cannot see where the guy is. And I realize there's a shadow on the ground that tells you what side he's on. I just cannot wrap my head around that room. Yeah, the third person in the dream sequence is random. It's always Surge, Kid, and a random character. Most of the characters are characters you could actually have here. There are some that are not actually available. There's like 15 or so characters it could be, one of the random ones. And during the dream sequence, the enemies are a little bit different, and there's no boss here. So, but yeah. So this is Bunyip. Bunyip is a red innate, which is kind of weird. All right, so bad start. Not Eagle Eye. What am I doing? I don't think it can be Lena now. Not what I want. Magnify, and then Ice Blast. Yeah, so it's kind of weird that Bunyip is a red innate, considering he's guarding the black crystal, but is what it is. This should finish him off. Just kidding. Now he's a black innate. This thing, there are some weird monster designs in this game for sure. This is one of them. Okay. 2-2. I need to defend, I think, and then Gwen. The Bunyip can attack here. Like, we're not guaranteed to get all of our turns off, but its first attack is always a physical attack, so it doesn't actually change the field effect. So we don't have to worry about it messing up our summon setup. And there's Frog Prince. And this one commonly does not kill, so I can finish him off with Surge if I have to. Do a quick little poke. And then 2 pokes. And this is my level 5 tech as Surge, Luminaire. You don't see it very often. This is like the only fight where it's semi-useful. All right. So now we have 2 fights left, and they are very physically based fights. That is the last time we will see Frog Prince. Sorry, Froggy. And this is where your strength stat really starts to matter. It matters through this like next whole section of the game. But we have pretty decent strength. 24 strength on Glenn and on Surge is pretty dang good. So that is the final crystal. We're going to throw Glenn in the front. These fights are a lot of buff Glenn up and just spam physical attacks. The first fight is going to be against General Viper. General Viper is a yellow innate character, so Glenn being green is perfect for us. This game is a lot of fun. If anyone hasn't played this game casually, there are some like kind of technical issues with the remaster right now, but I think the game is totally playable at this stage, and you know, it'll get better with patches and the like. So I highly recommend it. Story can be convoluted, but there are a lot of really good explanations in videos. If you are confused online about like exactly what's going on. It's a sequel of Chrono Trigger. But like before I played this game, I had never played Chrono Trigger, so you don't have to know the events of Trigger. But it definitely helps. The games are pretty loosely related, but they are, once you understand everything, they are like very related. So it's easy to play through the game and be like, that had nothing to do with Trigger, but it definitely does. Okay, so Lena first. Oh, that's a bad miss. Eagle Eye Glenn. Good damage. Is that G-Force gonna mess up the field effect? So that way Glenn... I don't know if this will kill. I think it will. If it doesn't, Surge can clean up. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, one fight left for this run. Oh, thank God I'm doing a Lynx 2 run. There's a very important drop from this fight that I didn't get. I got the rare drop instead. So good thing this is not a full game. I got a Mithril Mail instead of the Dragoon Gauntlet. Dragoon Gauntlet like boosts your attack and a bunch of other stuff, or boosts your attack. So, okay. So now we're fighting Lynx. Time will be at the end of this fight when it fades to black after like the victory screen. So, just a heads up on that. 1, 2. So even though Surge is the opposite color of Lynx and is going to be dealing the most damage, we're actually going to buff up Glenn and Surge. But Glenn's going to be sort of the main damage dealer here. So Lena is going to strengthen Glenn. Surge is going to Eagle Eye Glenn, and we're going to turn Glenn white. So that way he does more damage. Come on. That way. One, and then 3-3. That's the stamina push that we talked about earlier. We basically just got more actions off than we were supposed to. 2-2-2. Aqua Ball is fine. This is a random element that he uses here. Surge, go ahead and dash and slash. And there we go. So, like I said, time will be after the victory screen here. And time. All right. So I'm not going to mash through anything because this is probably a pretty important plot thing. If you have not played the game, like I said, I definitely recommend it. And I don't want to spoil this part. So, yeah. So this is a great category. If you are interested in this game, I think this game has one of my favorite battle systems in any RPG. It has a great story. The speedrun route is really fun. It is a long run though. Like I said, this is about a 6.5 hour to 7 hour run. My first run of the original on PlayStation was about 7.5 hours. So it is a definite time commitment. But if you're interested in the game, this is a great entry category. So I definitely recommend it. This can be, especially in the remaster, this can be down like really close to 2 hours. I am still fairly new to the game, and this was a 218. So this was a really good run overall. And yeah, I guess the only other thing is there is a Chrono Discord if you do want to join the game. And I can definitely help if you guys have any questions. So with that, I guess I am done. Definitely stick around for the rest of the marathon. Lots of great runs today. And it's amazing that we already hit our first goal. So the game is awkwardly silent.